Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Other Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
I'm Victoria.
And I'm Melanie.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Oh, woo! Okay, so we have a lot to go over today. And we're going to do a fun game. But first, does everybody want to just say something really... Actually, I'll say something really quick about Melanie, and then we will get into what everyone else is doing. I don't know if everyone knows this, but Melanie received an award from the RNC, which is amazing. There's a video that I can add. Oh, I guess I can't add it because I can't access it. But she received an award. Melanie, you want to tell us the award you received?
Yeah, so I was recognized by the RNC and received an award called Chairman's Champion. So I was recognized for my different door knocking efforts, things I've done to encourage voters to vote pro-life first and get pro-life candidates elected. So that was a nice recognition. The RNC opened up a Hispanic community center on the south side of San Antonio, which is mi barrio, my hood. So it was nice to be there at that celebration, at that opening of that new community center, and to receive that award. So yeah, thank you, Mallory, for shouting that out, and thank you, Jerry, for encouraging Mallory to shout that out.
Y'all, it's not why Jerry wanted to get on.
I don't know.
Y'all, get you a man like that treats you how Jerry treats Melanie. He messaged me, was like, hey, can you make sure you mention Melanie's award? And if you follow him on Instagram, he like shared a video praising Melanie for her award and was like very proud of her. So that's the standard, ladies. Jerry.
Yes.
Wow. After a terrible Jerry from Rick and Morty, the dad, he's a lame loser. His name is Jerry on Rick and Morty, but this is a good Jerry. We want this type. Mm-hmm. The Jerry from Texas, not the Jerry from Morty.
Yeah, no. Get you those other Jerrys.
Yeah, get you a those other Jerrys. Okay, Vic, anything happened cool for you this week?
Hold on. It's in the kitchen on the rack. Sebastian was asking where his Diet Cokes were. I cleaned. And
he knows you are girl bossing right now. That's crazy.
I know. Well, we're recording this Thursday night and he just got home from an event. So he's like heating up dinner. I cooked. And was asking where the Diet Coke was. But I've started a new branch of my business. TPC merch. So if you guys see, or we'll have it on our social media, but it's a shirt that says "Let's Go Brandon." And if you guys are interested, DM the account. Or that'll probably be easiest. DM the account and we'll send it, and part of the proceeds go towards those other girls to help us kind of. I told you this. Why are you getting excited?
No, because when you said, I was like, oh, that's so good, and then like halfway through my woo, I was like, oh wait, I already knew that.
Yeah, you already knew that. So they're white shirts with the NASCAR logo and it says "Let's Go Brandon." They're very cute. They're very comfortable. Right now I have a large on because it's Sebastian's, and honestly I've not made myself a medium yet. But I would say like it's pretty comfy. Like I like it.
It looks like good material because sometimes you get
it's Gildan t-shirt. So I know we would have those like with sororities stuff, I believe. But yeah, if you guys are interested, comment or DM us and we'll make a shirt. With shipping, it's $20. So,
that's not bad at all.
No, not at all. It's not bad.
I feel like there's some out there for like $40.
Oh yeah, like I think like Ben Shapiro is selling it for like crazy amounts.
Yeah, so support small businesses, support those other girls, and
support TPC merch. And if you need any merch, let me know too. I can do mugs, t-shirts, bags. I know we're planning on coming out with some merch through TPC merch, and we have not figure it out exactly because I'm still trying to figure out exactly. I'm still trying to figure out the designs. Like we haven't like settled on designs.
Yeah,
just
we're
yet.
still working out and like some cool sayings. So if there's things that we say throughout the like in every episode or something that you're like, ooh, that'd be fun to have on a shirt or a mug, let us know. I already suggested, ooh, good question, Vic, because I feel like all of the interviews I say that. Ooh, good question.
I think instead of good question, Vic, I think it'd be like, ooh, good question.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Melanie, because I do that a lot too in real life as well. Melanie is hilarious. But yeah, cool.
But okay, so there's something else I was gonna say and I don't remember it. I'm just I have 2 exams this week and I have finals this weekend. I'm just
and it's late.
Overly stressed right now.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how everything's going.
Okay. And I'll just say my quick thing. Legit got home 20-ish minutes ago from my first like official like gun shooting class. So I shot a gun before in a friend's backyard in rural Pennsylvania. And you know, that was one experience, but this experience was very different. It was in a class like we talked about before. First of all, it was a women's class, which I highly recommend. And honestly, I don't think I ever want to take a men's class. I just want to take women's classes because I really liked at the beginning, we talked about just in general, like safety things as women that we need to do. And I realized like, and I've told Melanie and Vic this, I am so reckless. Like,
yes, we're literally discussing how a woman gets murdered in one of our true crimes. And Mallory's over here is like, yeah, I don't even check if that's my Uber. I'm like, oh my God. Like, you're the one that's obsessed with true crime.
I know.
And it's like I need to, I have like a blog post ready for us to post actually about like tips on traveling for work and like flying.
Oh, nice.
I traveled for work like a month ago, but like I will not get in an Uber by myself. When I travel for work, I rent a car because I don't feel comfortable getting in an Uber by myself.
See, and I'm the exact opposite. I've fallen asleep in Ubers. So that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. That's not safe. That's not things to do.
Like the only time I've gotten an Uber by myself is like downtown DC, where like you can kind of like traffic get out. There's people around on the roads. Like,
yeah,
I was just going from like Foggy Bottom to like a couple blocks away. I don't even remember what it's called. But
Adams Morgan.
No, it's like the nice area in the northern part. You take the red line.
Georgetown?
No.
You said nice.
Well, yeah, but it's like whatever.
Anyway, Mount Vernon.
No. It's in DC.
Okay.
Like it's like where the end of the red line is.
I'm blue and silver line girl.
Okay.
That's all I ever really. I think I've taken the red line like twice in my life. Every time I've ever gone to DC, it's always the blue line.
Oh, I took the silver and orange line a lot out to Arlington for internship. Yeah,
and I almost, if I'm in DC, like I'm in DC. Like I never really, other than like going from Reagan to into the city. But anyway, y'all, that doesn't matter. What I was gonna say is in this class,
y'all really went on that.
I saw your face. Melanie was like, okay, like when I was my point being, in this class though, like the number one myth she had was it'll never happen to me. And I was like, whoa, that's how I live my life. So like I really got to thinking like I really need to stop doing that. Like that's not like now's not the time to do that. And I have my reasons for not thinking it'll happen to me, but like I'm sure like
I always think it's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm not like, and this is gonna sound terrible, but I feel like I'm just not like the target market. Like I know that sounds terrible, but like
I think anyone's the target market.
Well, this is gonna sound awful. I'll just use Oregon for example. Currently at the state, No one is going to be harvesting my organs personally. That's why I'm not like, but I realize like that's, first of all, I'm not going to be at this state forever, hopefully. So if I keep up this reckless behavior when maybe I do have on the outside looking in better looking organs, then like, oh, that's not good. And then also too, like realistically, I mean, I could be robbed. That's not like, that was one of the things she said, like sometimes it could be like a robbery. Like she shared a story where like this and she, oh, the other thing too, the last thing that we got to get into like the stuff for the day because we have a lot. She shared the story and I thought it was really good. She was saying how like the idea isn't to use your gun. The idea is to de-escalate, is to notice what's going on before so you won't even have to get to that point. And she said, like, sometimes you get so into these classes and you think that you're like this big superhero, you're going to save the day, but like that's not the reality. So what she said that a lady and a guy and a husband and a wife pull up to their house, and they pull up to their house like in the evening and they see that someone is in their house like robbing the house. Well, the guy is like, well, I have my gun, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna tell them what's up. And you know how like realistically, you know how like men are, especially when they think they're natural protectors, they're natural providers. That's like just kind of how their mind goes. So he told his wife to stay in the car. He goes inside of the house. Turns out there's two people in the house. They get into some sort of like scuffle argument, and the other guy goes out back and shoots his wife in the head because she was on the phone calling 911. And she's saying like, really what should have happened is forget the house, drive away, call 911 and let them know what's going on.
That was my first thought. I'm like, why would you go in? Drive away.
Well, her thing was like, you take all these classes, you think, yeah, I'm really good, like I've learned my stuff, I'm gonna be the hero, I'm gonna protect my family. And it's like, no, you cannot have that. Your main goal is to escalate. Another thing she said that was really good, and I had never heard this. So you know how the kids are doing the kids, you know how like people in high school and middle school are doing these active shooter drills, right? Okay, think about this. The active shooter would be one of the kids. So they're really just telling the active shooter, like, okay, everybody's going to be in this corner. All right. So she said, so there should be things to like identify the active shooter first. That's one of the things she said. But she said, and she was also like, what's happening is like everybody's crowded in this room. They're not leaving. If there's only one active shooter and everybody's crouching, you're like making yourself a target. She said what she recommends is that one of the kids, someone throws a chair out at a window, break the window, just get out the building. She said that's like the best thing to do, just get out the building. Because the reality is like if it's just one shooter, the odds of them like you'll have greater odds if you just get out the building. She was like, it's better if you jump off of like the second floor and break your arm than you end up dead. Because even when you think about it, like if there's an active shooter, okay, they pick your door, they pick your classroom, no one has anything to protect them because the teachers don't have guns, right? No one has anything to protect them. So that's just like 16 kids right there in one classroom, when if they had already broken the window and ran out, maybe someone has a broken arm, maybe someone hurt their leg, but at least they're able to run out and they have a fighting chance. And I was like, that's very good information. So I did that a couple minutes really ago, and it was a really great experience. Highly recommend everybody go take a class. I think it'll be beneficial. I was super nervous. I was one of those people who was like really, really nervous, and like I was like shaking at one point, but it's okay because it's all good.
Yep.
All right. So really quick, we're gonna do this or that really quick, just a fun thing, and we're gonna also put it in our story. So when you guys hear this on Saturday, you'll be able to do it, and then make sure you tag us and we'll share it. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Yes.
Iced coffee or hot coffee? Ice. Watching a movie or reading a book? I know what Vic's gonna say.
Movie.
Totally a book.
Apple cider or pumpkin spice? Apple cider.
I don't know if I've even tried either of those.
Really? Okay, that's different.
I'm gonna go with apple cider because I feel like I've maybe tried that before.
Hot apple cider is so good.
Adding cinnamon in it too.
I have never thought of joining that. I'll have to try that. Hay rides or corn maze?
Corn maze.
I think hayride.
I don't know if I've done a corn maze before. I would say hayride because I've never done a corn maze, I don't think.
I want to say hay rides because corn mazes are so simple to me.
Really?
But yeah. Well, like I feel like I've never been to like a real corn maze. I feel like the one we did, so my mom had us do these fall activities the day after the Women's March. Or no, I'm sorry, the minutes after the Women's March when I got home. And we did the corn maze. And it was like for children. And it was like you put or you color in, or like you put a sticker when you find this thing that matches this thing. And I was like, this is like,
what? I did a corn maze a few days ago for my friend's birthday, and we did it at night. And so I don't know how it is if you're saying like a child, like the corn was way taller than us, and we had to solve these riddles, and you found the rock, and then you're like, and if you got the riddle wrong, then you would turn the wrong way. So you have to get the riddle right. That way you turn the correct way from the rock to find the next rock.
That sounds interesting.
Okay, yeah. That actually sounds fun. I did like, it was like a picture you had to color. It was lame. Sweaters or flannels?
Sweaters.
I go flannels.
I feel like I could have pegged that. Soup or chili?
Soup.
Chili. I had chili tonight.
I don't like soup other than beef and broccoli.
Well, I mean, like
cheese and broccoli.
Chili, it's like all the soups. Like you have the meats, you have the beans, you have the vegetables. Like
avocado.
Okay. I would like to add an amendment to that.
Okay.
Brunswick stew. Have you ever had that before?
I've never even heard of that. Sounds like you sneezed.
Okay, it's like a country southern thing. So yeah,
that's probably why.
Like that's like my favorite thing.
Fuzzy socks or slippers?
Slippers.
Fuzzy socks.
I think slippers. I'm not really.
I don't own fuzzy socks. I own a pair of slippers, but I am wearing like Uggs, and like I consider like Uggs more slippers, but you can wear out. Okay.
That's an interesting take on Uggs, for sure. Interesting take. I definitely brought out my Uggs like last weekend because I was like, oh, it's Ugg season already. But look, it came by really fast.
It's amazing.
Okay, last one. Halloween or Hallelujah night? Hallelujah night for me.
I mean, I guess Halloween night because I don't really care for Halloween. Like, I just don't like it. Like, can we do like Halloween or Thanksgiving? Like, I love Thanksgiving.
I like Thanksgiving too. Your birthday's always around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, my birthday's on Thanksgiving this year.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's my favorite holiday.
Yeah, I like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think for my birthday, I'm getting a tattoo this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Of what?
It's the Maya Angelou poem, Still I Rise. It's like I've been wanting to get this since I was like 20.
Wow. Okay.
And it's just like a little one on my wrist.
Whoa.
And then big. Sebastian and I talked for our 2-year anniversary. We're gonna get like our rings tattooed to our ring finger.
Aww.
I've seen that. I've also seen, I forgot how it goes, but it's like some sort of like dots where it's like you, Jesus, and your lover.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, maybe look that up somewhere. I don't really know how to describe it, but I know it's like you, Jesus, and your lover. Like that's the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie, what about you? Halloween or Hallelujah night?
Well, okay, it's complicated because, to my understanding, Halloween comes from All Hallows Eve, and hollow meaning holy, because the next day, November 1st, as in the Catholic Church, we believe to be All Saints Day, All Holies Day. So it is Halloween is the eve of the All Hallows Day. So I don't know, as a Catholic, I like to dress up. I like to enjoy the free candy and the trick-or-treating, the camaraderie, if you will. And I still celebrate the day with my worldview of like remembering all the people who've gone on to heaven before me. And so it's like a both and. It's Halloween and a hallelujah night for me.
Okay. I just put that in there because I know that's like super controversial among Christians, and I really wanted
Yeah.
to trip you guys up, and it looks like I did.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
did.
really don't care about Halloween at all. Like, I've just never been a fan.
See, so growing up, we did Hallelujah night. Never went trick-or-treating, and like we were told, you know, some history behind it. And I do believe it's not necessarily a holiday like that. I know I feel convicted about like going full on out. I'll say that. But if you don't, then that's fine. I don't care. I'm just telling you about my conviction. So then when I went to college though, that's like it's Halloween weekend. That was like the thing. Like people who
Ours
never
is Halloween. It's the
Oh.
whole 7 days at ECU.
Well, excuse me. It was like the weekend that people who like did not go out went out. Like
Yeah.
it was big. The parties that never charged girls, they would charge girls that weekend. Like it was big. So that's when I was like, okay, I do kind of like obviously, not obviously, but like, you know, gave in to some stuff. And I started dressing up and I was like, okay, I really do like this. So like if I'm going somewhere, I 110% probably would dress up, but like I wouldn't decorate, like I wouldn't do anything else. But I also am the type of person that likes dressing up. And I heard someone say that they do a murder mystery fun game thing with their friends.
That's fun.
I know. So when I get my own apartment, everyone's invited. We're all dressing up. We're going to do like full on like The Office where everybody talks in accents. You got to dress like your character. I'm going to send you your character a week in advance so you can prepare. Like I'm going full out. So that's obviously can't do that now. But when I get my own apartment, that's what we're going to do. Everyone's in. Yes, I was like everyone's invited.
I love it. That's so fun. I've never done one before, but
me neither.
Definitely on my list of things to do.
Yeah, that's what I really want to do. All right, so let's get into it. We're gonna do the fast three real quick. First thing is San Francisco shut down In-N-Out for not enforcing the jab. So In-N-Out has joined one of the companies that is not enforcing the jab. So that's great. Good for them. The jab mandate. We don't have an In-N-Out, right?
No, it's a West Coast thing, which I'm very surprised about because it is like California based.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it says it doesn't say San Francisco.
Well, it's a California based place. Like they're based out of California and they are limited on how like the family decided like it's gonna do like a limit on how many go out of California.
Oh, really?
Like, there's few in like Arizona, a few in Texas. That's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, they are one of the ones that did not enforce. So good for them. Then Jamie Lee Spears, her donation of her book sales was denied by a mental health charity after they received intense backlash for supporting her amid her messy feud with Britney Spears. This was one of the articles that you guys, we're going to start doing like the vote, like which one should be a fast three, which one should be a main, and you guys voted that this should be a fast three. So that's all we're going to really talk about that. But I'll leave the link. Really interesting that like they're not going to accept a donation over that. But I don't know. You guys have any random thoughts on that, or that's just an interesting story?
I just don't see it as a nonprofit. Why wouldn't you take a donation? But
yeah.
But then again, like I wouldn't want to take a donation. Like a Christian organization wouldn't want to take a donation from someone who made all their money stripping and they're donating.
That's true. I wonder. Yeah, maybe they know something more about her than we do.
I think she has a lot more involved than what she's leading on for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna add our final fast three. And this is something that is really cool. So high school girl fires or shoots a 57 in conference championship after being named USA Today's best for North Carolina. Macy Pate ranked as the best high school girl golfer in North Carolina in the first National USA Today High School Sports Awards set Bermuda Run West Country Club ablaze Tuesday, shooting 14 under 57. So like in the golf world, 72 is like average. She shoots a 57 on 18 holes. Like
Wow.
a lot of professional golfers don't even shoot that. And what's really cool is she goes to my high school and is coached by my dad.
Whoa. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of wanted to throw that in there, that it's like, it's just so cool. Like she's like being recognized like nationally for this.
Good
So
for
I just want to like
her.
throw it out there. Like, I mean, this group of girls, like my dad has this year, they're such some of like the sweetest girls. They play states on Monday and Tuesday, so wishing them luck. But they are so hardworking. I remember during like when they were taking like COVID classes during and like doing classes at home, they'd literally sit on the driving range and be in class while hitting golf balls. Like
Wow.
they're a bunch of geniuses. They're such good athletes, such good academics, and all their hard work is paying off. So I just wanted to say congrats, Macy. We're proud of you.
Wow. I love that girl power. I mean, professionals don't even do that. I'm sold. Good for her. Wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. So those are our fast three stories, and now we're getting into our main stories. So this woman's video about why you should have sex on the first date is going viral and is starting a debate. Recently, a woman named Eve caught the attention of over 25 million people after she'd made this video talking about the importance of having sex on the first date. Yes.
I ain't about it. I don't like that.
I just feel like she did it to go viral. Like, think of like, because you can make money on TikTok, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think, like, I haven't seen the video, but I would never.
Let me
like,
tell you. Okay, let me tell you why she what happened. So she did not sleep with this guy for a while, and then they finally slept, and they're having I guess not trigger warning, like, oh, don't have your kids listen right now. They're having sexual intercourse, and in the middle of sexual intercourse, they're doing like dirty talk, or he's doing dirty talk, and he says something like, let me put a baby in you, or something like that. And she said that's a birthing kink, and that she's not okay with that. And like, he should have mentioned earlier that he had a birthing kink. So because he has a birthing kink, if they had had sex on the first date, she would have known that, and she wouldn't have wasted her time with him.
I didn't know birthing kink was a thing.
Because it's not really a thing, but you know,
I've never heard that. But like, sex is meant between a husband and wife. Like, and it's meant like for that emotional, like, it is very emotional. Like, I will, like, I agree with that. It's like very emotional, but and it's very like intimate act between a husband and wife. But the whole point of sex is to have kids.
Yep.
And reproduce. Like, in the end, sex is meant to reproduce. Like, that's, animals have sex not like for pleasure, but to reproduce. That's just kind of how I look at it. And like the whole like, oh, he's a birthing kink, like, that's not a thing. That's the whole point of sex.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that sex is meant for new life and for the bonding of spouses, that renewal of your marital covenant. And the natural outcome of sex is the potential of pregnancy, the potential of new life. And in the video, she talks about saying that she asked this guy, do you have any kinks? He didn't tell her what he was interested in. And then she discovered this mid-sex, and then she says that all the weeks of the dating went down the drain and out the door because of that negative experience. And so I just think that even if you had a negative experience, like, I don't know, let's say you've been in love with your spouse and or your future husband, and now it's your wedding night, and you know you didn't have the best experience your first time, that doesn't automatically mean everything goes out of the door, you know?
Well,
I don't know.
that's
I feel like
yeah.
that's like separating sex and the sacred, sex and the emotions of that bonding, of the intimate act, and how vulnerable it is, to say that I had a bad time, so thanks for all the dates, peace out, Girl Scout. I just feel like that takes away, from the relationship that could have been building. And the other thing too that I didn't like of the video is she goes on to say, like, I don't know if she said this while she was mid-sex with the guy, but she did say, are you going to pay for my abortion? Are you going to be okay with being a single dad? So again, it's affirming this, I don't know, birth control, abortion culture. And I'm surprised she even mentioned being a single dad, because that would imply that she would have a baby and place the baby with the dad with. So
well, no, she was implying she would abandon it. Let's not even like it was an implication she did not want the child and she would abandon it. Yeah.
I was just trying to say place rather than give up.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess, if you're abandoning a child, then I guess it's more giving up than placing. Yeah, so that was another part of the video that I didn't like, was that mention of, you gonna pay for my abortion? And again, I feel like that's just perpetrating that abortion normative culture that, ladies, you may get pregnant at some point when you're not ready, when you're not wanting it. So abortion is readily available to you. But really, like how we just discussed, the logical ends of what sex leads to is a new human life. And so consenting to sex should be also consenting to the potential of the results of sex, which is a baby. And so if you're not ready to consent to the new life, that potential, then you shouldn't be consenting to sex, period.
That's a really
but there's
good
that disconnect in our culture.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because we talk about, okay, with sex, is like, you need to consent. You need to make sure that both parties consent just to have it, but no one's consenting of, okay, if we do have sex, there is a chance of getting pregnant. That's like a really interesting take on that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like there's just a wire that's not connected. And so,
and I mean, I will add too, like, there are ways to have sex and not get pregnant. Not birth control, but like tracking your cycle, like when you're not ovulating, like,
yeah, exactly. That's why
you can
I
have
said
sex and not get pregnant.
The potential of a new life.
Yeah,
because you're right. Not every act of sex automatically means you will become pregnant.
Exactly. So like, you can have sex and not get pregnant, but it's also like, in the end, sex is about continuing life.
Yeah, everything you guys said, I agree. I'm trying to find this comment. I can't find it, but it was just about like the whole birthing kink thing that I just was like, I didn't even, like, that's not, like, let's not make that a, like, let's not make a birthing kink a thing. Like, that's not, like, what does that even mean? But I can't find that comment. But what I was going to say, Melanie, is something that you said earlier at the beginning of your comment. You had said something like, you were talking about how it was like one bad sexual experience and then she's like, throw it out. And I feel like that's just part of the culture now, where it's like, well, first of all, that's casual sex. And this is the result of casual sex because when you are just having casual sex, you can also just find someone else that fits what you want for when you want it, even if, and then maybe you might change your mind, so you can find someone else that decides to do that. But also too, I think this is just part of that self-love culture of like, well, this person did something that I did not like, and I am a queen, so I deserve the absolute best. They make one mistake, not for me, as opposed of like grace and understanding and getting to know someone and like
and mercy.
Like that's, but you know, if you're just thinking of yourself, like you have to have the best at all times, and you know, have this then it's not, then you're not, you know, I don't know. That's just, yeah.
And I really feel like this goes back to like the sexual, the promiscuity, the you can sleep with whoever, whenever, have all the consensual sex you want, goes back to this birth control culture that it should be readily accessible. Everyone has this. You have abortion if you need it. And I think that's also a result of divorce, of, you know, strong family units not being the norm in culture anymore, that now it's the norm for people to divorce and to get remarried, have, you know, multiple marriages after, you know. And so I just think that it goes back to the family. It goes back to conversations about the purpose of sex, which is for babies and bonding. And so, yeah, I just think it has all these different elements of birth control, 1960s, divorce, remarriage, you know?
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's just society. That's just how women are. Like, that's just so normalized. I mean, if you look at the comments of on the BuzzFeed thing, one or two people made a comment like, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. You should, you like what they're saying, like, oh, that's not good, like you shouldn't sleep with someone the first day, or like someone did say something that I thought was inappropriate, but like a couple of people, not the majority, just a couple of people's consensus was like, you should not be having sex on the first day. But the rest is, oh, you are slut shaming. Oh my goodness, these people are kink shaming. If this is a kink, that's fine. They should just discuss it the first day. I had sex the first day with my spouse, and we've been married for 30 years. Like, it's just, you know, all of this, it's part of the culture now. Like, it's just kind of like the common thing that like you just sleep with people. And I mean, that's what's very interesting about just dating in general in this day and age. Like, it unfortunately kind of is expected that you will sleep with a guy the very first time you meet him, whether they, and I'll be honest, whether they claim to be Christian or not, because I mean, everybody says they're Christian nowadays, but it is kind of just the expectation. And unfortunately, that's just culture. That's just how women are interacting with the world, I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But
yeah, it's very much so like immediate results, immediate pleasure, like with our phones, having immediate access to things. And so it's like, if you don't please me, if you disturb my peace, goodbye. And like, I just want to say this, I have never had sex, and I've been in a long-term relationship with my boyfriend Jerry. Love you, Jerry. And this December will make 3 years of us dating, and we hope to be married in the near future. And let's just hypothetically say on our wedding night we don't have the best experience as first timers of sex. That's not going to throw in the trash our entire relationship, because we have our faith, we have our friendship, we have, you know, just our experiences, things that we've done together, learned together. And so, you know, one bad experience isn't going to take away from everything we've built. And yeah, it's just, I think it goes back to, like I said, taking sex away from the sacred, which should be in the covenant of marriage.
Right. But once again, that goes to casual sex. If you're having casual sex, this makes perfect sense. You just find you have to sleep with tons of people, because the reality is everybody has different methods or different, however they do things differently. So if you're going to try to find the perfect person, you're going to have to sleep with a bajillion different people to find that person that you're not going to be upset with the very first time.
And then you're going to be let down.
Yep.
And you may be missing out on someone who's a really great person with a good character. I don't know, but
yeah, and it just adds to why sex is important within the confines of marriage. So yeah. Anyone have anything to say about pads and tampons this year?
yes,
You got it, Mal.
I have something to say. I have a lot to say about this topic, actually. And what I want to say is that it's that time of year again, folks. We are collecting money for pads and tampons for women in shelters in North Carolina. One of the least donated items in the shelters are pads and tampons. What? I know, they are left out. So we are stepping in to fill the gap for these ladies. Last year, the goal was $200, and we exceeded that goal and bought 792 pads and 296 tampons. So let's surpass that goal again this year. Acts chapter 20, verse 35 says, "In all things I have shown you that by working hard in this way, we must help the weak and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he himself said, 'It is more blessed to give than to receive.'" Amen.
Amen.
That's what I wanted to say about pads and tampons.
That's fantastic. Everyone, we are close to our goal. Let's go ahead and knock out the rest of how much we need. Whatever 250 minus 190 is, that's how many dollars we need left. Let's go ahead and knock that out so we can provide for these people. All right, Vic, next story.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but my dogs were doing laps during that, and Phoebe knocked my mic over.
Okay, so I did notice your mic. Like, I looked down and then I looked up and I was like, oh, your mic is no longer in front of you.
Yeah, they just came in from going outside, and apparently we were very excited from going outside. All right, so our next story is Dr. Rachel Levine, the nation's most senior transgender official, made history again Tuesday by becoming the first openly transgender 4-star officer across any of the country's 8 uniformed services. Levine, the Assistant Secretary of Health, was sworn in Tuesday as an admiral, the highest-ranking official of the U.S. Public Health Services Commission Corps, whose 60,000 uniformed officers are entrusted with protecting the nation's public health. Levine's appointment also made her the organization's first female 4-star officer. I did not know this existed.
So before we get to anything, that last sentence, Levine's appointment also made her the organization's first female 4-star officer, feels like a slap in the face. She's first female.
Yeah, this is like my only issue with
I'm speechless.
Well, this is like my only issue with like the far left feminist when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, like she's not female. She identifies as female, but that's what makes her transgender. That doesn't make her female.
Right. And at the end of the day, she is not.
Well, but I feel like,
female.
okay, like, fine, I give her the transgender label. Fine, I get it. But I don't think she should have the title being first female general when, like, okay, fine, I identify as a man. I'm the shortest man there is. You know, like, I don't get that title just because I identify.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And I just think it's very interesting that, for example, and she's in charge of public health, and it concerns me in the sense of, like, obviously what the implications are. Ali Stuckey has done podcasts on this, and I want to say it was a podcast I was listening to with her or either Monica Klein's podcast, one of their podcasts. They were talking about transgenderism, And they were saying how like it really is difficult for when you go to the doctor, because the reality is there are certain medications, there's certain things that you go to, and like whether you're a male or a female, whether you're born male or female, you absolutely like it can make a difference, a life or death difference in dosages of different things. And it's like it's not a joke. Like sir, and you know, you can take this transgender belief idea to the fullest extent and you can end up hurting yourself. And it just concerns me that someone who's in charge of health would have this role. Also too, I'm going to be honest, like, and this might be a hot take, everyone, and I'm saying this as someone who is technically obese. I wouldn't want someone obese over public health either. I would want to be honest, I'd want someone healthy. Like, I mean, that's just, I'd want someone who's healthy, and you know, I wouldn't want someone underweight either. I wouldn't want someone who just isn't healthy. Mel, what are your thoughts?
Well, okay, I have several thoughts. Have y'all ever seen the clip from Steven Crowder that he dressed as a woman and went to Planned Parenthood asking for a pregnancy test? Okay,
No.
It was okay. So
when I have to look that up.
Okay, so he actually had a friend who was pregnant at the time who I guess gave him a sample of her urine, and so he gave the friend's urine. That way it would the Planned Parenthood would say, so you're pregnant, you know, to a man dressed as a woman, identifying as a woman, and they just told him about his options of what he could do as a pregnant woman and sent him on his way. And he said that the reality is if a man were to test positive on a pregnancy test, that could be a sign of, I believe he said, testicular cancer or some other type of cancer.
Something like that. It's like actually a big health concern. It was like on a Grey's Anatomy episode. I remember hearing about that.
Oh, okay.
That is crazy. Okay, wait. Pause. Now, was it obvious that he was a man dressed as a woman, or did he like try to feminize himself? Because
I mean, he wore a dress, fake boobs, and a wig, but you could still look at Steven Crowder.
Okay, you can still tell it was a man.
That is distinctly a male.
Okay.
And well, you know, his voice is deep, and he would try to be like, hello. But
well, no, I was asking because you know that girl that I follow, because I like her aesthetic. If she walked in, I'd be like, oh yeah, she's a woman.
Okay.
Or that,
you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's like a girl in Supergirl that is a transgender.
She has all the fairy stuff and like her boyfriend. I've sent you the account before. Anyway,
maybe
like there are some people who are incredibly passing, but it was obvious that it was a man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a health disservice to that man.
Yeah, I'm just giving that as an example I know of a transgender person or someone posing as one, and Planned Parenthood being an organization that says we respect all LGBTQIA plus, and saying you're pregnant when it was obviously a man in front of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so
especially if,
yeah, and the other thought that I have on the topic of transgendered transgendered women, I can't speak much to a woman becoming a man, but for me, I just feel like it truly takes away the authenticity and the power of being a woman, you know, because a transgendered woman or a man becoming a woman will never menstruate. They'll never, lactate, you know, they'll never be able to breastfeed. They won't have the same chromosomes. They'll never have the same hormone response of the brain talking to the uterus. And, you know, there's just some things that they will never experience. And I think a huge one, I feel like, is our fertility, is ovulation, is our white flow, the mucus, and our red flow, our bleeding, the menstruating, menses. And so, I just feel like to identify as a woman, but you will never know those experiences. You'll never know.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like for me, it takes away the authenticity, the just true female empowerment, because it's like you'll never know those lived experiences because you're not truly a woman. And I feel like too, it is a part of or one type of body dysmorphia, and to not address it as such is a disservice to the person who has that body dysmorphia. Because sometimes there's people who look at their hand and say, this is truly not my hand, when someone else can say, no bro, that is your hand, like that is your body. And so I think it's similar to that, the transgenderism. And so but I do think
my sister's like a biology major, and she described it to me as it's like when someone loses a limb. Is like they have the same brain makeup as someone who's lost a limb.
Yeah, but we can't give so Melanie, go ahead, finish what you were going to say, and then I have something to say about that.
So what I want, the last thought on the topic is like how you've told me before, Mal, all money's green. So if I were to go to a cookie shop owned by a transgendered person or a same-sex couple, but they got good cookies, like I'm not gonna not shop there, or I'm not gonna not use the service of someone who I can tell is LGBTQIA plus, like
if you're dying, you're not going to be like no to the doctor. I don't want
exactly.
That.
And I as a very pro-life person, I always carry with me the mindset of everyone's a human. Like everyone is still equally human, deserving of respect and dignity. So even though, like I said, I've talked about how I don't like the idea of transgendered women because they won't ever truly understand the full experience of being a woman. And I do believe that transgenderism is one type of body dysmorphia. I still would love someone who's a member of the LGBTQIA community and give them respect and dignity. So that's the last thought I had on the topic.
And I actually, to piggyback off of that, you kind of took what I was going to say is, though I disagree wholeheartedly, and I really don't think we should affirm people who do have body dysmorphia, who brain chemistry is the same as if they lost a limb. I do think we need to offer them love and grace in the sense of like they're still a human being.
Yeah.
I think that we just have to, like, it's such a hard situation. I'll be honest, I've never met anyone. Well, that's not true. I've met, I think, this person, but like I didn't really interact with them because it never came across. But when I was in a program, there was someone who was transgender. So it's not like I had all this history with a person who identifies as such, but I do think that we have to, like Melanie said, show love, grace, and mercy toward that person. But I do think it is imperative and it is important for us to also realize that like we should not affirm. Now, what does that look like if it's your loved one? I don't know. I think there's resources out there for you. Ali Stuckey and Monica Klein, Girl Defined, they've all done episodes on things like that. But I think that it's so important to go into these situations just thinking about like if there was a situation where I did have to, if there was something in that realm that I had to interact with, I would go in asking the Holy Spirit to speak through me. If I don't know, like if it's something casual, like, oh, we're all going out to get ice cream and one of my friends just happens to be transgender. Obviously, I'm not going to like make a big deal out of it. But, if it's something a little bit more serious than that, I would ask the Holy Spirit to speak through me, because at the end of the day, like, we have to offer grace and mercy, but we also should do our best to see how we can help someone. If you don't have a relationship with someone, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, I wanted to add that.
Yeah, for me, when I was in community college was the first time. Well, actually, I knew a transgendered person in high school. I had someone in high school, but at the time, I don't think I fully understood transgenderism. Like,
I
I
certainly
couldn't.
didn't. I
I
know I
think I
didn't in
thought
high
maybe
school.
they were a lesbian. Like, I didn't know that was a person wanting to become a male. And when I was in community college is when I befriended someone who was transgender, who was very open about talking about their experience and saying, like, I just started my testosterone shots. And like how you're saying, like, I wasn't ever going to be, let me sit down with you and talk to you about your sin. Like,
Yeah.
that was
No.
never my approach. I did my best to respect that person and see them as a human that has, more characteristics and traits than wanting to become a boy. And I just always did my best to, instead of like saying the pronouns they wanted, I would just say their name, when talking about them. And anyways, but like you're saying, like the Holy Spirit will open up opportunities for conversation. And that may not be you, but you can be that light, that example of a Christian who loves them. But I didn't have that relationship or that authority with that person well enough to have that conversation. I didn't have that authority in that person's life to talk about that. So I never did, but that was just my experience, or the most experience I've had was that community college friend. And that's just how I navigated that, was, respecting them as another human.
And last thing on this, and then we got to do our next story. We got to wrap it up soon. I think it's also incredibly important to remember, like, it's okay to discuss things, because I know that it's kind of taboo now to have discussion on topics. It is okay to discuss things, and then not saying to be fake to people when you meet them, but obviously you can have your opinions on things, but if you meet someone in real life, you don't have to blurt out your opinion right away, and I think that's something that people struggle with finding the balance of, because I know I've done that before. I've have opinions on things, and I struggle with, do I give my opinion right now, or no, this is not the appropriate time. So I think that's another thing too, just Holy Spirit and discernment is so important. We really need to tap in, and not tap in, that sounded very new agey. We really need to work on work on our discernment. We need to work on, like, okay, is God having me do something now? No? Okay, let me move on, type of thing. All right, Vic, let's do our last story.
All right. Handmaid's Tale author outrages liberals by sharing column about erasure of women, which is very relevant to what we just discussed.
Absolutely.
Atwood defends backlash about removing woman from vocabulary. Author Margaret Atwood faced backlash from progressives after sharing a column about the erasure of woman. On Tuesday, the Handmaid's Tale author posted an opinion piece on her Twitter account from the Toronto Star titled, "Why Can't We Say Woman Anymore?" The article wrote that woman is in danger of becoming a dirty word due to social justice political correctness. Columnist Rosie DiMano also denounced tactics to change women to people as harmful for leaving well-meaning people tongue-tied, lest they be attacked as transphobic or otherwise insensitive to the increasing complex constructions of gender. Although Atwood is being criticized by progressives, she has often received their support and praise for her fictional story about Gilead, where women are property and forced to bear children. Progressives frequently use the Handmaid's Tale comparison when criticizing pro-life and conservative policies and have dressed up as characters from the story during protests. So, first and foremost, the Handmaid's Tale is not the Republican Party; it's the Democrat Party.
Explain to us. Melanie and I tried to watch it last year and could not get it.
Which I'm surprised.
We fell asleep.
Oh my god! I read both the books. I've all caught up today on the series. Like, it's one of my favorites, and it's very dark. But like, my whole thing is like, what people don't realize, it's it's literally the Democrats what they're trying to do. They're trying to erase women, which that's what Gilead did. It, like it said, it made women property. It erased the woman. And it's like a socialistic society where the government tells you who you are as a person, what your job is, how much you can eat, what you can eat, what you can read. Women are not allowed to read. And it's just like it's the government telling you what you can and can't do. And I really don't understand how the left does not see that is what's going on today with what's going on with the pandemic. And I'm saying, like, the pandemic's real. Like, don't get me wrong, the pandemic is real. But the whole government control telling you, okay, this is where you can go. You can only go if you have a vaccine. Companies that have 100 plus employees all have to be vaccinated. Kids have to wear a mask. Certain businesses can be open or shut. Like, that's literally what Gilead is. And what people aren't realizing is that's what the Democratic Party is doing. And so, like, for someone who's read the books, watched the show, I don't understand where the left goes, oh my God, this is the Republicans. And it's funny because, like, the whole point of why things happen in Gilead is because women, like, because of birth control and because of other stuff, people weren't able to get pregnant. So, like,
really?
Yes, that's the whole point of Gilead, is that there's a child shortage and there's issues for why people aren't able to get pregnant, but they're blaming the environment on the reason why people aren't able to get pregnant. But really, it's like the whole birth control, abortion industry, stuff like that. And it's like, it's subtle. And I don't think she meant it that way, but it is that way.
Yeah.
It's like from like all the drugs, all the awful foods we're taking, all the medications we're taking. Like, that's the reason why women aren't able to get pregnant. So that's why they have the handmaids, because these were the women who, for some reason, were able to have kids. That's what the handmaids are. They were, for some reason, able to have kids. And so it's the government saying, okay, because you've been able to have kids, you're going to supply the kids for the wealthy families in the country.
So, like, the wealthy family will get like 1 or 2 handmaids, and then
so they'll get a handmaid. The husband will. So it's the whole concept of what was it? Abraham and Sarah, and then their maid.
Oh.
So the maid, like the handmaid, is the maid.
It's Hagar.
Hagar, yes. I was blanking on her name. So the handmaid's Hagar. And so that was the whole concept of Sarah's like, here, take my maid, my handmaid, and impregnate her so we can have a kid.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting premise.
Which I was very surprised you didn't like or get into.
Maybe we were tired.
I think we finished the first episode. Like, I feel like
you're
maybe
not
it just
even
went by
close.
so slow. I think it just was going by so slow, and like it was doing all these flashbacks, and I didn't really get it. Like, I think
it's flashbacks to like the normal world.
Yeah, but I didn't understand like how far is the time jump, because everybody looked the same.
Yeah, like that. But that's like the whole concept. It was like the normal world was like 5 years ago.
Oh, that's interesting too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. So like we started, because at all the stuff we did last year, wow, it was exactly a year ago. It's crazy. Yeah. All the stuff we did last year, everything we went to, women were dressed up as handmaids, and we were like, what on earth is this? Like, I never heard of it. So then one day, I think everybody else, I don't know why no one else watched it with us, but me and Melanie were like, we're going to watch it. So we like tried to watch it, and I fell asleep. Like, it just wasn't interesting. It was just like playing in the background. Yeah.
But I guess like the only parallel that I can see what the left's saying is just like it being pro-life is just like forcing women to have kids. Like that's like where the only parallel is. But the difference is it's women aren't being forced to have sex.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like the women who are getting abortions
Yeah.
are not being forced to have sex. I mean, there are definitely women who have been taken advantage of and raped, and like I'm not saying any of that, but
Yeah.
like these women who are like dressing up as handmaids, what they don't understand, it's like, no, the difference is not the fact that pro-life is forcing women to have kids. It's not forcing women to it's like forcing women to have sex. Like that's the difference between Handmaid's Tale and pro-life movement. Pro-life movement just believes every life matters. But Handmaid's Tale, it's literally just forcing men onto women. Like it's just that's the only parallel, and that's where I think they're completely misread it and misunderstood it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I explained that well.
No. I totally get what you're saying. And I think like from their perspective, I definitely see why they think it is like what the Republicans
But
are
it's
trying to
very
do.
like abstract. Like you really have to go out there to like compare the two.
Well, I think it's from their perspective, I kind of see where they're coming from. But like realistically, when we deal in truth and reality, I think it's definitely not what Republicans want. Like it's definitely not.
No, and it's completely like it's not, and I guess too what they're saying is like Gilead is technically deemed like a Christian society. And I guess that's like the other parallel. It's like it's very Christian. It's very like they pray and they read the Bible passage of Sarah giving her maid to Abraham before the act, and it's like oh god, what do they say? Like they don't say
Cringe.
hello. They say something like something like bless you or I don't remember
Peace
what they
be
said.
with you.
Yeah, peace be with you. Yes.
Oh, I was just saying
Yeah,
something
it was like that.
Catholic.
Yeah, I know. It was like yeah, like peace be with you and like stuff like
With your
that. And so
spirit.
I guess that's where they get it. It's like between like the Republicans wanting a Christian society, quote unquote, in their eyes, which I don't know. I don't see the Republican Party wanting a Christian society. I just see the Republican Party making decisions based off their Christian belief. Like there's a difference.
There is a difference, and there are two Republican parties. I think that like just to get into that for 2 seconds, there are definitely two Republican parties. There are definitely people who want a theocracy. There are people who want to do everything in their power to make it a theocracy. But then there are people who just who are just voting based on their Christian beliefs. And as long as you respect them, they respect you.
I disagree with you on like the two Republican Party. I think it's a very small, like it's not your everyday Republican Party volunteers that are what you're saying. I think it's a very small group that because I disagree with you completely. Like I think it's a very small group that's loud, but I think it's also like it's like some people that you follow and you're thinking it's like a bigger
yeah.
Because like I don't see that at all. I truly don't see that where I am.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily want a theocracy because realistically, I would not do well in a theocracy as an unwed 26-year-old. But I wouldn't mind, like, for example, I think porn should be illegal. Like, I think we should completely make it illegal, which is very authoritarian of me, which someone told me when I said that. He was like, aren't you Republican? That's very authoritarian. And I thought about it and I was like, it is. That'll be my authoritarian statement. And I think that abortion should be illegal. I don't know. I know I'm not alone in this. I know there's a lot of other people who agree with me too. So I mean, there's people who are like way further that want a legit like almost a pope as our president, and I'm definitely not there. But I will say like I mean, you saw that test I took. I'm pretty Christian conservative, like, and I know I'm not alone in that. Especially for like just tiny things like wanting abortion completely illegal. Like I want it banned. I want people to be in trouble if they participate. But
no, yeah, and it's one of those things, pornography, that there's secular arguments too for why that's not healthy and moral. With the sex trafficking, the low lifespans, how that affects people mentally who consume porn, how it affects their sex lives, their expectations of sex. So there's tons of even secular reasons for why people should get behind regulations on pornography.
Yeah.
And then too, like, there's secular reasons with birth control and abortion, and there's even things of like data on why divorce affects children long
And I
term.
think
Like, there's,
we
so
should
I'm
get
just
rid
saying,
of
like, and these and all those things a believer can get behind and agree with, and then science and data also confirm these things that our faith, supports.
And I think we should get rid of no fault divorce. Like, I mean, there's just a bunch of things that, like, I mean, a straight up theocracy, no. But like, I do think there are some things that, and like I said, like, I know I'm not alone in that. I know there's tons of other people who agree too. That's why I think there are two Republican parties. That's how I feel. But at the end of the day, we need to remember our priorities. We vote for policy. So you find the policy that you like and agree with, and that is what you vote for. You vote for that. And there is no politician that you're going to love. There is no politician that you are going to agree with 100%, but you have to, we're in a, whether we think it's right or wrong, we are in a we have a, I was about to say a bi-party. We have a what am I trying to say, you guys, when it's two parties?
Bipartisan.
We have a bipartisan system, so that's just what we have to deal with. But anyway, crazy that she was canceled by her own people. Let's wrap it up. Oh, we'll also leave the article on the, I'll put the article in our blog post so you guys can read it and tell us. Oh, that will be, wait, did she ask a question? Was there why can't we say women anymore? That, or no, what should be the question for Spotify? Is it offensive? Maybe, like, do you find it offensive that we can't use the word woman anymore? I'll do that to be the question on Spotify. Let us know. Answer that if you're listening on Spotify. Our last thing of the night, day, week, whenever you're listening to this, is our OG politic. And the spotlight is brought to you by Culture of Life 1972. Head over to COL1972.com and use the code THOSEOTHERGIRLS1972 and get 10% off your purchase. 100% of your purchase goes to pro-life causes. Okay, so this I found very interesting. This happened this week in politics. Are you guys ready? This is super interesting. Congress investigated communists in Hollywood. All right, here we go. On October 20th, 1947, the notorious Red Scare kicks into high gear in Washington as a congressional committee began investigating communist influence on one of the world's richest and most glamorous communities, Hollywood. After World War II, the Cold War began to heat up between the world's two superpowers, the United States and the communist-controlled Soviet Union. In Washington, conservative watchdogs worked to out communists in government before setting their sights on alleged Reds in their famously liberal movie industry. In an investigation that began October 1947, the House Un-American Activities Committee grilled a number of prominent witnesses, asking bluntly, "Are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?" Fun fact, on some of the in 2019, when I took immigration law in grad school, that are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party was on the application, immigration application. Like they still ask that. Whether out of patriotism or fear, some witnesses, including Eli Kazar, actors Gary Cooper and Robert Taylor, and studio honchos Walt Disney and Jack Warner, gave the committee names of colleagues they suspected of being communists. A small group known as Hollywood 10 resisted, complaining that the hearings were illegal and violated their First Amendment rights. They were all convicted of obstructing the investigation and several jail terms. Pressured by Congress, the Hollywood establishment started a blacklist policy, banning the work of about 325 screenwriters, actors, and directors who had not been cleared by the committee. Those blacklisted included composer Aaron Copland, writers Dashiell Hammett, Lillian Hellman, and Dorothy Parker, playwright Arthur Miller, and actor and filmmaker Orson Welles. One of the blacklisted writers used pseudonyms to continue working, while others wrote scripts that were credited to other writer friends. Starting in the early 1960s, after the downfall of Senator Joseph McCarthy, the most public face of anti-communism, the ban began to lift slowly. In 1997, the Writers Guild of America unanimously voted to change the writing credits of 23 films made during the blacklist period, reversing but not erasing some of the damage done by the Red Scare. And that is what happened this week in politics. Isn't that very interesting, especially considering like what's going on today?
I didn't read it fully when you posted it, and I thought it was something that's happening today.
Okay, fascinating because of what is going on in Hollywood today. You would think that something like this could possibly happen, but let's be honest, they're pretty pro-communism now.
Which is funny because they don't realize that them being able to do their art is pure capitalism.
Yeah, and to be paid so highly for their art is capitalism. But all right, guys, that's what happened this week in politics. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like, review, subscribe, tell all your friends. Make sure you answer our Spotify question. Check out our blog post that has all the links to the articles. It was suggested by a listener to do something like that, and I'm really glad we did. We'll also include a picture of Vic's Let's Go Brandon shirt. If you really think it's cute and you want to order some, go ahead and reach out to us on our podcast page. Make sure you donate. Let's go ahead and wrap up our donation to the women's shelter. Anything else, ladies, you think we should add?
No, but breaking news, Alex Baldwin accidentally shoots and kills cinematographer.
Wait, what?
Alex Baldwin accidentally killed the director of photography on the set of his latest film, Rust. He also wounded the movie's director. According to the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office, it occurred during filming in New Mexico when a prop gun discharged. An investigation is ongoing to find out what type of bullet came out of the firearm. TMZ reports that the gun was supposed to have blanks in it, but when it fired, either shrapnel or a bullet hit two people on set. After being struck by the projectile, director of photography was taken by helicopter to the University of New Mexico Hospital in Albuquerque, where she succumbed to her injuries. Souza was brought by ambulance to a local hospital where he has been given emergency care. No one has been arrested in the shooting and no charges have been filed, but the incident remains under an open and active investigation.
Wow.
Oh, that's crazy.
I also learned today that it takes 7 seconds for you to recognize that you've been hit by a bullet.
Really?
7. Yep. And it takes 3 seconds for someone to walk 20 feet. Like if someone's 21 feet away from you, it can take them 3 seconds to get to you. So
the other thing I saw real quick, that people are wanting Kristen Stewart to play the Joker to Rob Pattinson's Batman.
That's stupid. Funny. Yeah.
Funny, and I just want to circle back and bring that back to gun safety and why everybody should take at least once a gun safety, how to use a gun class, like Mallory.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, seriously, everyone, take a class just so you can be aware and so you can know. I'm sure that could have been avoided. I don't know the full situation.
I don't think so. It was like a prop gun that went off.
But
so it looks like someone got a real gun and a prop gun mixed up.
Right, but if they had, well, that can be avoided. Like if they had
yeah. Well, it's not
That's
like
what I
he
mean.
like was intentionally shooting someone.
No,
It was, like, in the
no.
movie.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he personally, like, once it was there and it was given to him, sure. But like, you know, between putting that gun, a real gun down and a prop gun down, there definitely was some wires that were crossed. Anywho, everyone, rate, like, review, subscribe, follow, comment, all the jazz. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Mwah.